Welcome to On the Road with Ice Castle. Brought to you by Reed Sporting Goods and Granite City Motor Car.
All right, welcome to our first edition of On the Road with Ice Castle. We have a bunch of great guests with us today. We're up at Red Lake. Obviously, most everyone has heard of all the things going on Red Lake. Even if you're not an ice fisherman, I think people down south think we're crazy. But we have the experts with us today to talk a little bit about the real life on Red Lake here this year in 2023 and early 24. And hopefully we've all been we've been through enough here, and we have some cold weather on the horizon here. So we'll look at things in the rearview mirror and hopefully be able to laugh a little bit and go, we're on the road to a brighter future. With me in the studio today is, on my left is John Hand, and John is with Mort's on Upper Red, and Johnny Halverson with Cookies on Upper Red. And then not in studio, but from afar, because we had some ice yesterday, a little ice storm, we have Marlis Lord Carlson from Greater Minnesota Rentals. So we're going to start with John. John is with Mort's on Upper Red again. And John, tell us a little bit about Mort's. Tell us a little about the history, what you do there, and a little background.
Well, I guess we'll start out with me. I'm a lake crew guy on the lake. Scott was supposed to be here, but he's got sick, so he didn't want to be coughing in the microphone. But Scott bought Mort's 4 years ago, and we've taken the place and kind of ran with it. Scott also owns another resort on the lake on the east side, Red Lake Adventures. We do a fair amount of ice fishing out of Mort's. There's a little bit of summer activity there, not a lot. We have some rental fish houses we take out on the lake. This year we have not been able to get them out there. Yeah. It's been just a mess on the south shore of the lake this year with the cracks.
We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I'm sure you guys have kind of had enough about it. But Johnny, what's Cookies on Upper Red? I love the name. Tell me about Cookies and the little history there.
So Cookies on Upper Red started about 23 years ago. My dad's side of the family homesteaded in Waskish back in the early 1900s. And so I've been coming up here fishing since I was a little boy, could walk. Cookie moved up here in about 2000 during the crappie boom, and him and his best buddy, the Greek, Bill Scott, decided that they were going to build some fish houses and get people on fish, and it kind of took off from there. He at one point, I think Cookie ran about 12 to 15 fish houses. We did over the years he kind of slowed down a little bit and was down to about 7 or 8. I grew up down in the cities, always been an avid fisherman, love ice fishing, and about 5 years ago, Cookie talked me into moving up here permanently, and it's kind of taken off from there. We seem to be growing every year, getting bigger and bigger, and we really enjoy what we do, and we enjoy being on the ice, and it's just, this is my heaven on earth here, so I love this place.
All right. Well, Marlis, you're next on the list. Tell us, you pretty much run things or help run things at Greater Minnesota Rentals. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, so I don't run things. That's Captain Dave's job. I just do the marketing and their Facebook page. Greater Minnesota has been around for 17 years. I've been with them. This is my 4th year. And we currently have 27 ice castles that we rent out. Anywhere from 4, 5, 6, and an 8-man, and we're on the South Shore as well. We've been closed since December 10th, but very happy to report today that we opened our access this morning, and we are looking forward to making ice and getting our houses out there.
Thank you, Marlis, for that, and obviously that's good news that the access is open up now. Cookies is kind of, you guys have had a little bit of a break because you're on the west side.
Yeah.
But
we run out of
the
northeast corner of the lake. So we Cookies, actually, we don't run our own ice road. We run out of Hillman's Tall Tale Taverns. We've been partnered up with Hillman's for about 10 years now. And it seems to work for everyone. Hillman's builds the ice road, and we help keep it maintained for the year. And that's kind of the deal we make with them to, run out of their property. we do have property on the lake, but we choose to run with Hillman's. It's just easier on all of our equipment and, maybe our pocketbooks at times.
Yeah. So John, you have kind of an interesting, because you've kind of seen both sides of things with this year and being, some of the rescue things. Tell me a little bit about that and the challenges that it's been. I think, one thing I always see is, I see all the comments, there's comments and people are like, what are they doing out on the lake? And it's really kind of weird because it's not like the lake is all thin ice. It's basically slivers when the ice shifts, and then it kind of creates a void where there's not a lot of ice, and that's what kind of when the wind switches, that's what creates the problem. So on the south side here, Marlis can attest to this, and and John as well. But on the south side here is kind of where it usually affects it more than the east and the west sides, right?
Well, it depends on the year. I mean, every year there's going to be a crack out a lake this side. There's going to be a crack somewhere. And this year it's a big horseshoe that goes from the west going east along the south shore, and then pretty much right out here in front of greater Minnesota, the crackle turns and goes almost straight north to the north side of the lake, and then turns and goes back to the west along the north shore. So we've had rescues on the south shore this year. We've had some on the north shore this year. I mean, every rescue is a little different, but there's one factor that's always been with every rescue, and that is the wind direction. If the wind's out of the south, 99% of the time, the ice is going to slide to the north. If we have cracks and it's still moving, and it goes for the opposite. When the wind's out of the north, it's more likely to open up on the north.
What is the when you do a rescue? What goes into that? And tell me a little bit about the process. And are the people? I think if you're watching we're talking to a lot of ice fishermen. Ice fishermen kind of know what's going on, but people generally, it's not like generally a panic situation. It's kind of they're out there, and tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, no, there's we'll start with the last one here. We had 122 people, and I don't think there was a lot of them that were really panicked about being out there. I mean, they were until we showed up, but then it was kind of just business as usual, getting them off. Our fire department's got, we have a John boat, and we have a couple inflatable boats and a snowmobile, all for ice rescue. So we show up, we have the stuff. We like to use it once in a while.
Yeah,
but. That rescue, we get them off as fast as we can. The DNR brought their airboat up too to help just speed up the process, because 122 people and we have a 16-foot John boat. It takes a lot of trips across the open water to get everybody off, it goes a little faster when you don't have to bring everybody's stuff with. We're here to preserve life, not property.
So women and children first.
Sometimes the women and children are less panicked. So
yeah, that's hats off to you guys, because that's really something that it's. I don't think anyone goes out there saying, "Hey, today I'm going to put my life at risk," and So I think it's you guys have done a good job. I think that the police department they're trying to do the best job that they can with the information. I know, Marlis, you do a lot of drone stuff, and I've really enjoyed watching some of your drone work, giving us a bird's eye view of the crack and what the ice is like and that kind of thing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's new this year for Greater Minnesota, which I think has been a huge tool for us, especially for our operations side. Being able to get out there with the drone and see exactly what's happening. Before we used to just walk out with a spud bar and hope nobody fell in, and now we can go up first and look at the drone coverage and see exactly where the crack is, where it's moving to, where it's coming from. And absolutely love flying the thing. We've had a blast with it this year.
How wide, generally speaking, was that crack this year? Was it
it depended on what day it was and where at on the crack. I mean, we were anywhere from it being closed up to 400 yards wide.
Okay. So what? So that being said, this has created an unusual year. Let's talk a little bit. We kind of put that behind us now because we don't want to think about that. It's obviously had an impact on business though, a lot, right? What's the hope for recovering some of that business, Johnny?
Well, we at Cookies were in contact with the sheriff after the closure last weekend, and we were given an exemption to continue our business because we did have houses on the ice. We had houses on the ice, and we had to be able to continue to service them. We haven't had the problems on the northeast corner that they've been having down here, and I feel for these guys, man. This first 2 weeks of the season is usually our best 2 weeks financially, and we had 2 houses on the lake out of 10 houses, and it's been tough. We'll recover from it. We've had years before that this has happened, and we weren't able to be on the ice, but we'll recover from it. We'll just keep plugging away, and hopefully on Monday they're going to reevaluate the situation and check the ice again and see if we can be out there full time again with public and all. So we'll be all right.
Well, I think one of the things that looks good is the forecast. The forecast is slipping into some sub-zero temps, which when you start getting below zero, with not a lot. I mean, that's the one kind of good thing, right, guys? Is there's not a lot of snow on the ice. So we got a little bit this morning as we're filming this, maybe an inch or two, but pretty powdery, not super heavy stuff. What when we start getting below zero, how much ice can you build typically in a night? Any idea or any thoughts?
Cookie actually had a conversion for ice building. I wish I would have grabbed it. I know on the single digit nights you can make anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half a day.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty average with the teens and single digits. You can make an inch to inch and a half ice a night.
Well, we're broadcasting from what do you guys think? This is our Ice Castle on the road with Ice Castle mobile studio. We have it set up. Getting it set up this morning. We had a lot of things we're still working out here. But what do you think of the rig?
It's a beautiful house.
Very nice house.
So when we talk about ice sickness, my partner Brady and I, we're chomping at the bit. We're up here today. We can't. We're pretending we're on the ice.
Let's open the hole and drill it quick.
We are actually at Greater Minnesota Rentals, thanks to Marlis here, and they've given us a prime spot here overlooking the water. But we want to hook up and get out there, so we're waiting like everyone else. But I think in general, what's cool about you guys is that. You really do have safety. And it gets me kind of angry sometimes on some comments from people because you guys really collectively, I'm sure there's exceptions out there, but collectively as a group, your caution is your number one thing. Marlis, maybe you can speak to that a little bit. You guys are not going to, now I know the sheriff's department shut things down for a little bit, but you guys have been really cautious the whole way here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We pride ourselves on the fact that we've been in business for 17 years and we've never done a rescue. And some anglers get a little upset that we don't get out on the ice sooner. We're normally the last resort that goes out, and that's probably because of Captain Dave and he can't swim. So I think that maybe has a little bit to do with his cautiousness, but very proud of the fact that we haven't done a rescue, and it's just not worth it to our anglers or to anybody else. I feel bad for the people, especially Johnny and those guys up on the northeast corner, and they've got great ice up there, and they could be getting their people out there and getting lots of people on the ice and getting some money coming back into them. I feel really bad for that side of the lake, but like I said on another interview, it's hard to put an order in for just part of the lake. But going back to your question about the financial side of it as well, Um, sure, it's been a dramatic cut for Greater Minnesota, as I think all the outfitters are realizing. Um, but again, I think all of us would agree that safety's number one,
Well, and I think the thing
and
that
we're
I
just not going to risk it.
Yeah, I think the thing that I would say to everyone is now I know that like if someone's comes up every year from Chicago, they booked a trip last year, they're trying to arrange vacation time or something like that. But I would say if you are or have done a trip and wanted to do a trip, maybe you had to cancel your trip or whatever. There is a lot of season left here, and the good news is the ice that is building is good ice. Am I right there, guys? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
100% good ice. We were out this morning actually checking ice and shuttling customers to houses, and we were checking ice, and we found anywhere from 12 to 14 inches of ice. We did go out about 4.5 miles out to the pressure ridge, and typically by this time of year, our ice road is out to that 4.5 5 mile mark, and there's a giant 10-foot pressure ridge out there, and there's still open water out there. So it's not like the entire northeast corner is locked up. The lake still isn't locked up, and it's still, we do realize at Cookies that things and conditions can change quickly, especially with wind and snow, like John was saying. But like Mar said, we 100% put our customers and safety first for everyone. So we understand why the sheriff did what he did. So
yeah. So when you have that crack out there and it does get cold and starts forming, if it's a smaller crack, does the ice build a little faster than it would normally? I would assume maybe yes, a little bit, and catch up to the other ice, or is that a stupid question? I don't know.
I guess with an honest answer, I don't know that it would build any faster. It's gonna build what it builds.
Yep.
You got a crack that's 400 wide, or 400 yards wide. It's gonna build 1.5 inches a night. If it doesn't slam back shut. If it slams back shut, then it makes a pressure ridge, and you have both sides of the ice are still good.
So okay. So what if someone does want to book? What do you say to someone that wants to book? You guys all have your what are some of the things people look for in when they book? John, let's start with you. What do they look for in a resort, or what are some important things that you guys offer?
Well, Mort's is probably one of the quietest places on the south side of the lake. I mean, we still, when the ice is good, we offer a road out to about 7 miles, but it's a lot quieter, a lot less houses coming out there. I mean, we have a lot of ice castles that do come out there, but less than, say, our neighbors to the west or east. So it's quieter for us.
But you do have. We were there last night. We pulled in last night. We came in and we had a drink in your bar. You have a little nice little bar there. You serve pizza. Do you serve other? Is it primarily pizzas?
Just pizzas, and beer, and we have a booze license now too. So we can get a mixed drink or a beer and pizza, and
yeah, it's a nice place. It's got a great atmosphere, and Scott's a great guy. You seem awesome as well, and it's a great place to go. Marlis, tell us a little bit. Maybe give us a little history on starting of Greater Minnesota Rentals and kind of what your approach is. A little bit more like we camped here. We used the showers here this morning. It's a great setup here. A lot of ice castles in the lot here. A lot of them anxiously waiting to get on the ice. But tell us a little bit about kind of your motto, what your customer looks like, maybe just a little bit about you guys.
Well, our customer, we've opened up our lot a lot this summer, and normally our customers have been the Yetis and the ice castles and the bigger houses. Since I don't know if it's because we run the fleet of ice castle houses, and then we usually have an auction every year at the end of the season. So I don't know if that drives some of our customers our way. I think they like the quietness of our lot, and that it's closed in a little bit more, and it's kind of like a big, huge camping facility where everybody gets to know their own neighbors. So that's huge. The bathrooms showers, big, huge plus. We definitely could add a couple more of those. And then last year, Dave, or 2 years ago now, Captain Dave built the lounge area, and that has a separate area. You can't, there's no alcohol served in there. It is all bring your own. So we've got pizza makers in there, microwaves, and so a lot of people come in there in the morning and make their coffee, and or if they have a large group, family group up for a weekend, they'll use the lounge to do a potluck style dinner. So yeah, our access is a little bit different than others, um, and mainly catering, I guess, to the larger profile ice houses.
Yep. And you have
But I
some,
will say Mort's is my favorite bar.
yeah, we had a few last night. It was kind of fun. So it was a good time.
And did you play 6-5-4 like I told you to?
We did not play 6-5-4, but we
Fun
did
game.
talk. We did talk to. We did talk to some locals. Got some rundown on the town here a little bit and some history. My wife has a relative up here, so I asked a little bit about them, and it was fun. It was there wasn't a lot of people there, obviously because of things, but lots and lots of phone calls. I know that you guys were the phone was ringing, so people are chomping at the bit, and it's, I look at it a little bit, and it's weird because back a number of years ago when I was buying a snowblower, right, like. You get to January and people kind of start having this mindset that we're not going to get any more snow. Winter's almost over. Well, the reality of it is winter's not almost over, and this is the best time. And honestly, most of the time you're not getting on with big houses till right around the first of the year, anyways. Right? Is it a little bit before that sometimes?
Yeah, I guess on average, I would say we're out by Christmas.
Okay.
Maybe a couple days before. We've been on the lake. I think the earliest is like December 12th, with houses. There's been times where first weekend of deer hunting, we've been walking out there fishing, early ice. So
Maybe I should do that instead of deer hunting. 'Cause I haven't had a lot of. Well, I did shoot one this year, but it wasn't. They're actually, speaking of deer. I had rented a place a while ago, up here. I don't want to say, but it was brutal because of the wolves, But I saw a lot of deer when we were driving around yesterday. So maybe the good news about this mild winter is some of those wolves won't be able to catch the deer as much. Yeah. But so we've seen a lot of deer. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is, so obviously we have a lot of winter left. If someone wants to book, if you've even thought about booking, and we have 3 of the resort owners. There's a lot of resorts up here. There's a lot of bars and restaurants, lots of great places to eat, and really we feel bad for everyone because it's been slow. But just book another date. Just plan another date. Let's help these lodge owners and resort owners. Get through this winter. I don't think you guys want anyone to feel sorry for you, but obviously, if you're thinking of something to do, the other thing that I wanted to bring out, and my partner Brady, the producer, he's kind of he's a little shy. Maybe we'll get him on eventually here, but another thing that's really cool about this area is the summer fishing. We were talking to Scott last night, and I didn't realize. Brady was asking him about summer fishing, and obviously everyone knows that the first couple of weeks after the opener, a lot of people come up, but people forget about the rest of the summer sometimes up here. I don't know if they get busy with family stuff or whatever, but can we talk about who wants to talk about the fishing a little bit in the summer?
I can. I do a little bit of summer fishing here. Cookie does do a little bit of guiding in the summer. He's an avid golfer, so he works for a golf course up in Baudette, and that's his number one love. But he does do a little bit of guiding in the summer, and I do a lot of fishing in the summer here. It can be, honestly, some of the most amazing fishing that you could ever have. There's days where I think last year our best day was 200 fish in a day. And, that can get fun. It's a lot of hook sets in a day.
That's awesome. It's kind of almost, you're almost in Canada here, so you get plus you don't get the pressure in the summer, do you? Like, it's not nearly as, there's not as much pressure in the summer. Is that fair to say?
I'd say for the first month of the season, yeah, there is quite a bit of pressure on the lake. It's amazing the pressure that this lake can handle. And since the reopening of walleye in 2008, it's come back amazing. We're starting to see a boom in crappies again. And that's my favorite fish to catch. I'm a passionate crappie fisherman. It's one of my favorite things, and it's so fun to go out there and just hunt them and find them, and that's one of my passions is finding fish. That's what I do for cookies. I go out in the portables and I go out in the trucks and I drill holes until I find fish, and then we either move a house there or move a boat there. So
yeah, well, so what's how do you fish them in the summer? What are some of is it pretty wide variety of technique, or what's
in the spring there's jigging a minnow over the side of the boat. Crankbaits are always good in the summer. In the spring, the little Joe spinners with a fathead, trolling, are some of the main techniques we use to fish up here.
Yeah, that's cool. And do you guys use live scope?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
That's
Dad calls it. Cookie calls it the cheater machine.
I looked at one today and I said I couldn't tell you how to use that thing. Even I couldn't turn it on.
Well, one of the things, we talked a little bit about this. We named this the bear cave. We have 4 TVs in here. You can see one in the back, but we have 3 others as well. And one of them we have set for live scope, which we're going to put in here, and that'll be fun. But it's a little. I mean, I don't mind it because I'm not that great of a fisherman, but I need all the help that I can get. But we have one of the holes that'll be kind of a live scope hole, and then obviously we have a camera one too. So
one thing I do know about the live scope is it's fun to be able to see the fish, but it don't make them bite any better.
That can be frustrating.
Yeah, I'll chime in on that.
Go ahead,
Chime in
Marlis.
on that live scope too. It's great for Dave just got one for his boat for this coming season, but I don't know. We found that the people ice fishing with their live scopes haven't been as successful as other people have not, and I haven't figured out if it's the sound of it in winter fishing compared to summer that's making a difference or not. So that's something I'd like to do a little research on, but I agree 100%. You can't just buy a live scope, plug it in, and think it's going to work for you. There's so many different levels of that live scope that you have to learn before you even put it on the water.
Well, one of our sponsors, Reed's, who I love. We were down at the ice show, and one of the things I love about Reed's is their salespeople they really know their stuff, And I spent some time just sitting back, listening to some of them talk about live scope and how to use it, and I think a lot of people do feel like there is potential, like especially when things are a little more finicky, that it could be a little less action with it, but a lot of people also use them just for locating, especially you talk about some of the slab crappies you have up here, being able to locate them a little bit and see them, and maybe you shut it off if you're worried about it, but there's nothing like being able to say there's some fish down there.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of stories of people using them chasing crappies, and they can see them there, but they're 40 feet over this way, so they go drill a hole there. Well, now they're 60 feet over, drill a hole there. They drill 150 holes before they have them surrounded to catch them.
Well, and that's
when they could easily just call Johnny up and they can take him. He can take them directly to the spot because he is Mr. Crappie King.
I am a hole
and knows
drilling
exactly
machine.
where they are. So you do not need a live scope for his crappie. He knows where they are.
Yeah.
So, and obviously we, Ice Castle is our sponsor, but one of the things people don't realize is some people just will, have a big castle, right? And then, they'll kind of do some running and gunning, if you will, out and then come back. If it's really cold, they come back, or, they go to find them. So they kind of use them in tandem. Do you see that a fair amount, Johnny?
Yeah, I've been with some groups. I don't have a live scope personally, but I've been with some groups that use them, and it is one heck of a tool to be able to find fish. I mean, you get one guy, at drilling a hole, put that live scope down, and you get another guy 200 feet away, and you can look at each other and you can see what's in between you, without having to drill 100 holes in between you. It's quite the tool, So, yeah, it'd be fun to. The one thing about them that I don't like is they're big and they're bulky. So it's hard enough for me to carry an auger around at my old age. So
Yeah, you got to.
let alone carrying a 50, 60 pound fish locator.
Yeah, well, that's what a sled's for. You got to put them on the sled and take them. But
there you go.
what? So best guess. We're recording this on what is it, the 6th, right? Yes. So, best guess when you think the big house is? Anyone? Are you afraid to guess? What's your? Obviously,
Well,
don't take this verbatim, guys. You use your judgment and listen to the local authorities. But what do you think? How much longer?
I don't know. The way they've been forecasting our weather lately has been. They keep saying it's going to get cold every week, and then it never does. They just keep pushing it back a week at a time. And I mean, we have to see some cold weather before these restrictions go away for the motorized vehicles from the sheriff's department. It's
Yeah, I know that. I know there is a scheduled. I believe they're going to come out on Monday and do an ice check. So, I mean, you can never predict the weather. You can never predict Mother Nature. So it's hard to say. And now it's up to the sheriff. You know what I mean? It's to when we're going to allow the public back on the lake. Like I said, as outfitters at Cookies, we are allowed on the lake. We are allowed to service our houses. We're allowed to shuttle guests to and from their houses. We're allowed to shuttle guests to and from fishing grounds. So, we're very diligent in checking the ice and making sure it's safe for everybody. So we don't have any accidents and we don't get anybody in the water. So
Yep.
it's it's been a lot of extra work this year, but that's what we do up here. We work hard and we really love what we do.
What do you guys do? Like, do you guys, is it kind of like a band of brothers when you're, like when you see each other out, like do you tell stories about things or, do you all get along pretty well? I mean, obviously I can tell you guys all get along well. Yeah.
Well, if there was a book of stories, it'd be that thick.
What, okay, let's talk about stories.
I tried to get Cookie to come up because that man has more stories than you know. He's been writing on the internet for, since you could write on the internet. And, everywhere I go in Minnesota, if I bring up Cookie's name, they're like, oh, Cookie? Yeah, he's my dad. And, I love his reports, man. We read his reports all the time, and so it's kind of cool, Dad was like one of the original internet keyboard warriors, so.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. What are your guys's? You got any stories, Big Fish, the one that got away? Marlis, you want to start? You have any good stories that you can share?
I have a fish story from 2020 when I was working remotely in my ice castle and on a conference call with my boss and a couple other people. And I brought my rattle reels up to about 5 feet of water. And right in the middle of the conference call, the rattle reel went off. And I was like, oh, crap. And bringing that fish up with one hand, trying to hold my phone on the other ear, and brought in a 23-incher. And so not the hugest fish, but it was kind of cool that I'm not supposed to be fishing while I'm working, but I was safe with 5 feet of water.
Yeah, that's cool. So, John, you got any good? I mean, you probably have plenty of good stories.
Well, I don't get time to do a lot of fishing out here. I mean, with kind of running roads on two resorts, but I get a kick out of it a lot of time. You go into a house and people are, fishing slow, this and that, and you look down on the Vexilar and you pick up their rod, you jig one up when you're standing right there, and boom, you got it. What's so hard about this?
Well, that makes you valuable. Like he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Johnny, what about you? Anything?
So there's been many times I've walked into a house and, like John said, they're not catching anything, and you pick up their rod and actually jig it, and next thing you know, you got a fish on. And it's like, it makes you kind of wonder sometimes, are these guys really fishing or are they just out here playing cards and drinking?
Well, so, I can answer that somewhat. So I've been guilty of it. But what's really cool is some of the features and things in some of the ice castles compared to back, even in Marlis, even in your lot here, you're seeing some of the ice castles that go back a number of years, and then you see some of them that like obviously ours, which some of the things that you can have from full size TVs to refrigerators, Furrion cook stoves. We're gonna actually start doing a little thing. I think you guys would be interested in doing a little series on favorite recipes and things that you do from your ice castle, things that are easy. Like I know Brady would like to do one about his world famous old fashioned that he makes, and some tenderloin, crostinis and things like that. But we're gonna probably do some of that because you can really, you don't lack any creature comforts in here, from drop down beds to slide outs. We have 2 slide outs in here, which is, the front one has an 80-inch slide out, which Brady slept on last night, very comfortable, and so you can get them as big or as small as you want. If you want to be a little more mobile, obviously you can get one that's smaller and take that where you want. But obviously, Marlis, you've probably seen all kinds of different castles coming in and out of here as well, huh?
Yeah, there's just some absolute beauties out there. And then, my house is a crank up, and so I'm watching these, and I've worked for the resort, and I watch these people come out with their 2 slide outs, and they press a button and the house goes down, and they press a button and the house goes up, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? But yeah, some beautiful houses out there, and they just seem to be getting better and better with the amenities that they are putting in for both the angler and for a camper, hunter,
Video.
They are very.
We talked to Brett about our design here, and we had all of the things. We have 3 cameras in here. We have just a whole lot of electrical, and I think he was about ready to kill me when we were showing. But we had one last year. We sold that. We upgraded to this one, which has all the electrical and TVs and everything, and it's really kind of fun to customize them to your liking and make sure they're good. Let's we're kind of running out of time here. You guys you guys want to do this again sometime?
Yeah, I would do it again.
Sure.
Yeah. Marlis, obviously you're going to be up next, I think, coming up starting in a couple of days, and you'll be up for a pretty.
Yeah, I'm coming up Wednesday, and I'm going to take a whole week off. My prediction is that my house will be on the lake by January 15th.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks, so I hope to God it's true.
We're hoping for next weekend for the big houses. So
we were talking. Brady and I were talking on the way up about people that drive out on the roads and they just fly out there, and a lot of people don't realize how bad that can be for a road. And his idea was like, we should put a GoPro down and show people the type of water action that goes when someone goes by you, and just see, because it's really about the waves right underneath.
Yeah.
Is that what really? That would be something nice. So.
So the Army Corps of Engineers says with 9 inches of ice, you can drive a 3.5 ton truck at 5 miles an hour. At 12 inches of ice, you can drive a 30-ton truck at 5 miles an hour. So, and that's the Army Corps of Engineers. That's, that's 5 miles an hour. That's good, solid ice.
Yeah, well,
just not crossing any cracks, not crossing any pressure ridges, things like that. So,
is there then a recommended speed that people should go? Is it 5 miles an hour?
5 miles an hour is plenty fast on the lake.
Yeah. Well, that's.
You'll never find it though. You'll never find anybody. Going
I've
5
seen
miles
people
an hour.
doing 55, 65, 70 miles an hour across this.
Me
lake.
too.
And we flag them down and try and explain to them what they're doing wrong, and it's excitement, and it's sometimes I think it's maybe a little too much partying and having fun, but
Yeah.
So sometimes they think they have to go as fast as the plow trucks. The plows a lot of times work a lot better at a little higher speed than people should be driving.
Yeah. So let's kind of wrap it up there. But first, let's just give a little, Marlis. If someone wants to book at Greater Minnesota Rentals, what do you tell them? Where should they go? Who do they call? What's the skinny?
Well, normally Dave and I both are doing the bookings, but with all the changes that are going on right now this year, he's been, we just can't keep up, both of us at the same time communicating the changes. So we're having everybody call Captain Dave at 320-226-2884. They can message us on the Facebook Messenger if they want, and then I normally get a hold of him to see what we can do. But right now, with all the changes, cancellations, moving of dates for people, we're just having them call Dave.
Sounds good. And John, how about you guys?
Well, if you're looking to book a house at Mort's, you call up Scott or Sean and Wes right at Mort's there. They take care of the books there, and that number is, I'm looking it up because I don't know it off the top of my head.
No one remembers telephone numbers anymore. That's what iPhones. I don't even know my kids' numbers.
I mean you Google Mort's Dock on Upper Red and it'll be there, but the number is 218-647-8128. We have houses from 4-man sleepers all the way up to 8-man sleepers. So,
and Johnny?
So if you want to book a house with Cookies on Upper Red Lake, you call Cookie directly. He does all the bookings at 218-556-6197. Or we do have a webpage at cookiesonupperredlake.com. We do run 4 ice castles that sleep 4 to 6 people, a Yeti that'll sleep 4, and then 5 skid houses that to sleep 4 to 6. So plenty of room and plenty of openings, midweek openings. We do offer a 20% discount during the week. So, anybody wants to come up and fish, we'd love to have you.
Well, on that, we're going to close it down. I want to thank our sponsors, Granite City Motor Car out of St. Cloud. If you're looking like us, we had to upgrade. We upgraded the ice castle, but we also had to get a 1-ton because we couldn't pull it with the other truck. So they do a great job. And one of the things that makes them unique and different, if you call any of the guys there, you're looking for a truck. You just kind of tell them what you want. They'll search. They'll find the one, whether it's new or used. You can check it out. And also big thanks to Reed Sporting Goods there in Walker. Give them a call, obviously, if you need any outdoor gear from hunting, fishing, tackle, you name it. Reed's, they're experts, and they'll help you out. Again, guys, thanks again. We'll be back in touch. This was fun. Hopefully we do it again, and good luck. And let's book our trips, guys. If you're thinking about going up fishing up on Red, give one of these resorts a call. And let them take care of you.
Let's just make sure our next podcast is out on the lake.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we
perfect.
we can pull Marlis and be pulling fish up with one hand. And
well, we have Starlink on here, so we can do the podcast from wherever
perfect.
we are. So we're excited about that. So once again, guys, thanks again, and it was a lot of fun. And have a great rest of the season.
Thanks for having us.